Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to the Sagex Too Cool podcast. Today's podcast is brought to you by the Fair Use Disclaimer, where under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976 allows us fair use of any materials used for educational purposes. Without further ado, today's podcast is about SecondLife, the virtual medium environment. It's a game that you can play online with people all around the world. What is SecondLife? SecondLife is a virtual environment where you can create pretty much anything your mind can come up with. There are so many different things that you can do within the game of SecondLife. It's similar to what Mark Zuckerberg is trying to do with Metaverse, but on a much grander scale, of course. But as a person of color, and while I'm on that note, I'm just going to let you know I'm a black player. I'm a black person. I'm African American in America. And I've been on this game SecondLife for about a little more than 10 years now. And one thing I've noticed, after being on the game for so long, you end up building your character, your avatar. You end up building them up because over the course of time, of course, you change your avatar. You perfect them in many different ways that you would normally do with yourself in real life, but you're doing it in a virtual environment. You can buy pretty much anything that's offered on the marketplace. And like I said, you can pretty much, whatever your mind comes up with, you can take it there. So there's a lot of people that get on and they get on for sex. That's not what I do. I don't have to do that. I have a real life to where I don't have to do that. But there are people who get on the game because that's all they want to do. And God bless them if that's what they want to do. No judging. But there's also the aspect that we all have to deal with, and that's racism. Racism is also a part of SecondLife. There are people who bring their baggage, or luggage if you will, of racism to the game. And so as you navigate, you have to be very, very careful. In my experience as a black avatar, people would come up and antagonize me in every single way they possibly could. Here recently, it's happened more than usual, and I had to step back and take a look at this because I recently lost my account. It's been terminated. Linden Labs, the company who runs SecondLife, they have a process of elimination. And what do I mean by that? Well, after doing some research, after my account got terminated, stolen if you will, because after all, there's digital assets that I purchased on this game, and once they terminate your account, they take it all back. But one has to wonder, what do they do with this stuff? When people report on you and you get banned or your account is terminated, what does SecondLife do? Do you give away those digital assets to your friends, or do you keep it? The reason why I asked this is because after getting my account terminated, I decided to do some research, and lo and behold, I see that there are a lot of other players who have experienced exactly what I'm experiencing, where bands of people get together and they go out and antagonize people and they get them banned. They get their accounts banned or get them terminated. And this is by intention. It's intentional. And so I had to start wondering, is Linden Labs doing this? Are they hiring people, or do they have people on their bankroll maybe, where they're intentionally going out and ruining legacy accounts? People with accounts who are 10 years and older. Because after all, people who have legacy accounts, you will tend to have a lot more than newcomers coming to the game. And just like real life, people have jealousy. It's rampant on SecondLife. So, as a minority, I would have to tell you, You would have to be very, very careful what you do, where you go, what you wear, as stupid as that sounds and immature as that sounds. You have to be concerned about where you go, what you wear, and be very, very concerned and wary of other people. They want you to believe that Second Life is a total friendly atmosphere where you can meet a lot of friends and whatnot, and you can. But there's people on here on the game, they have cliques. And once they feel like they don't like you, they'll gang up on you. They'll report you in bands, meaning that just like how the KKK would do, they'll all jump on you at one time. They'll all attack you at one time. They'll all report you at one time. It's a concerted effort, and it's a concerted effort that's been done to me with false reporting. People will do that. They'll make up things and report on you. What they do is there's in the game of Second Life, they make it easy that you could report someone by just clicking a button. But whether the contents of what they're reporting is true or false is a whole nother story. Because people like to make up things. You can say something in a chat room and someone else will turn around and say that you're saying this or that when it's not even what you said. But they'll turn around and make it that way. Also, like I said, as a minority, and I'm using this word purposely, because I can easily say black person, but I'm saying minority because I want all people of color to hear me out on this. Because if you're investing money in this platform called Second Life, you need to be careful, because if you're a legacy account, like I said, if you've been on for a while and you've been developing your character, people get jealous and they start purposely going out to attack you. Just like the KKK would do back in the day, except they're doing it virtually online. Same method to get rid of you. They don't want you around. For whatever reason, they feel that they're so arrogant that they could dictate your presence. They would even say things like, well, why do you come here? As if that's their business. I always felt offended when they would ask me, well, why do you come to this sim? Because it's none of your business. I don't have to explain anything to you. Who are you? That's what I would ask them. And because of me standing my ground and standing on my 2 feet as a black avatar, they would report on me. Yes, so I've had many reports from these type of people. They're jealous. And one other factor is, if you're smart, if you're intelligent, they don't like that. They get very intimidated by it. As a matter of fact, Second Life in their Linden Labs, in their terms of condition, they mention that they don't like intimidation. Oftentimes, as a black person, as a black avatar, I wouldn't even have to say anything. I could be at a sim and people would start messing with me for no reason whatsoever. Just the fact that I have a black avatar, they would come and bump into me, run into me, walk into me. They would push me around the sim, and then when I would call them on it, you know what they would say? They would claim that they didn't see me, but yet they would be doing this purposely. But speaking with them, they're wasting my time telling me that, oh, I didn't see you. Dumb stuff like that. Well, the fact that I've gotten my account terminated, now is the time for me to actually expose a lot of the racism and a lot of the events that took place on Second Life. So, without further ado, there were many, many, many times that I recorded my events. And the actual verbiage that people said in the chat, I recorded it. For purposes of who knows what. I don't know. But I have it. And I'm going to cover those, and I'm going to even say their names. I think it's important to expose racist incidents and events, and then also expose the people who were involved. Since Linden Labs has decided to only write me back in my appeals with a copy and paste response, just like what I read on the Better Business Bureau's website that they always do, this seems to be a modus operandi from Linden Labs. They have people down at Linden Labs, people like O.B. Linden and Dakota Linden. They will write us responses back to our appeals with a copy-paste, indignant, disrespectful response. Not only is their customer service piss poor, but their business model on how they handle incidences of legacy players who have invested a lot of time and money into their business, into their company, how they turn around and they don't provide any protections for us. They allow newcomers to come along and false report on us, making us lose our accounts and lose all of our digital assets. I think Linden Labs is a company with a business model that is very much almost borderline illegal, and especially their retaliatory methods. When I mentioned in my appeal that I would do a video on YouTube exposing this, then they wrote me back and said now they're going to permanently terminate my account, almost like they were being retaliatory. And that's illegal in most companies, but for some reason Linden Labs thinks that's okay to do. I wonder if they actually do that to their employees at their company, Linden Labs, down in San Francisco, at their headquarters. I wonder if they treat their employees that way, retaliatory, where you punish people for speaking up. Well, let me tell you something before I end this. I'm an intelligent black man. I stand on what I say, and I stand on my principles. And I definitely stand against racism and racist events and situations. I'm not accepting nothing of what you guys say down at Linden Labs. Your responses to my appeals was cow manure, poo-poo, dookie. That's exactly what I feel about how you responded to this. But more to come. I'm going to expose your racists that are on your platform. This is Sage Acts Too Cool, the Sage Acts Too Cool podcast.